So, Benny, why don't you walk us through? You've checked your credit, you've done some things to get yourself ready for getting a loan, and now you have to go through the pre-approval process. Can you tell us what that looks like?
Yeah, my approach to this is very educational, especially for a first-time home buyer. I feel that if you can equip yourself with the knowledge of what a lender is looking for in this process, right? So it's not just, what is the max that I qualify for? There's so much that goes into your mortgage. So we're going to be running your credit. We're going to be looking at your income. We're going to be looking at your bank statements, a really thorough analysis. And in that process, educating you on why we're going through all these steps. Ultimately, the goal to buying is payment comfortability. And that's the piece that I push more than everything, right? Not, what is the max that I qualify for? The mindset should be, what is the payment going to look like, including property taxes and insurance and things as a renter you've never had to pay for before. Once you can wrap your head around what that recipe looks like for you, and the pre-approval is a very custom approach, right? We all have different financials and jobs and credit and income. So this approach, really, we narrow down what that perfect recipe is for you. And then when all that makes sense and everything looks good and you're ready to go, at that point, you could start looking for a home with confidence. So that's the process of a pre-approval.
That sounds really good. And I think that's a really important point, to make sure that people aren't overextending themselves when they're looking at buying a home, and they're still in a comfortable place where they can buy food and, go out to eat and do some things that they were doing before, and it doesn't change their life way too much.
Absolutely. So that's why it's important to do a very detailed, analysis of your financials.
Awesome. So you touched on this for a second. You said when you're going through the pre-approval process that you're going to look at bank statements and the credit, and what other kinds of documents should someone have handy when they're going into the pre-approval process?
It depends on your situation, right? And that's back to that custom approach that we talked about. But generally speaking, if you're an employee or you're a W-2 employee for a company, we're asking for your last couple pay stubs that you've received. We're looking at, and within those pay stubs, how you're paid. Are you paid hourly? Are you paid salary? Do you get overtime? So we're really looking at all the different aspects of your income. We're going to ask for your W-2s typically for the last couple years, and then we'll also ask for your tax returns for the last couple years. So our analysis is looking through all of those. When it comes to assets, we're looking for anything that is in your name. It could be a 401k, it could be an IRA, checking, savings. You might have a stock portfolio. You might have a life insurance policy where you have like a cash value as part of that. It's called your surrender or cash value. So all of those things that we're looking for. And then ultimately, we're going to be running your credit. We're going to be looking through all of that. But that's the basics to get everything going. Obviously, there's some exceptions to what I just told you about what we'll need, but those are the basics.